He was that dude. You'd be like, what dude? That dude that just caused the line to just expand. Why? It would take me 2 hours on his lineup alone.
Being entrepreneurs, man, it's you're living by faith, not by sight, because you don't know at times. Even like your strategy will not help you at times.
And then he started telling people he's my cousin, so he's my cousin too. You know what I mean? When you're that close, he's my cousin. So yeah, he's my cousin. Me putting weight on Mika, if I can use that term, it was not meant to crush him, but to build his muscle.
Having people that go about giving you the wisdom, that go about encouraging you, that go about challenging you, it's so important to have. So we are people who are also under submission, and it's a must to do that.
Rapid fire questions. So the first question is, who's the better barber? Welcome to the Many Roads podcast. I'm your host, Oba Okusanya. Welcome back. If you're joining us for first, second time, whatever it is, welcome back. I'm excited today because I have with me, this is the first episode that we're ever going to have two guests on at the same time. And it's perfect because these guys are business partners. They're lifelong friends. And, I figured it's time we talk to, friends who are also in business. So welcome to the Many Roads podcast. The founders, creators of Prophetic Cuts, Fokhus Mika and Mika LeGacy. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, man. We're here.
Hey, I'm excited to talk to you guys because there's so much we can unpack. Already we've been laughing even before the podcast started. But it's gonna be that kind of episode.
No, Fokhus started it. That's his name right there. He's representing it. So he started it, man. But we're here.
I'm gonna be me wherever I am. I'm gonna be
man.
me.
That's
Hey,
it.
man.
That's it. Okay, so let's get started this way. For anyone who doesn't know the backstory of the Prophetic Cuts Barbershop, before we even get to that, how did you guys actually meet each other? Like, because I feel like I've always known you guys. Like, you guys have always been in each other's lives ever since I've known each of you. So how did you guys meet?
Go ahead,
Mix, I'm
Fokhus.
gonna let you run that. Go ahead, Mix.
You go ahead, man. You go ahead, man.
I know my version's gonna be better, so I'm gonna let you say yours.
Man, let's start with that, bro. Let's start with that. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, sir.
So, how I and Meeks met? Oh, this is probably more like 20, maybe even 25 years ago. Yeah, 20, 25 years ago. How we met is my parents had a barbershop, or they had a salon. It's called Nana's Fashion and Beauty Salon. Shout out to them, Nana's F&B. And I was a barber. Even that story is a story, but basically I was the temporary barber until we found a barber, but we couldn't find a barber, so I became a barber. And while I was cutting people, some people I knew who were really close to me, they brought Mika, and Mika was that dude. He was that dude. You'd be like, what dude? That dude that just caused the line to just expand. Why? It would take me 2 hours on his lineup alone. And I'm like, my guy, like, this is like $10 cuts. I cannot be spending 2 hours. He's like, yo. And I knew from then, I'm like, yo, you have a barber eye. And what's a barber eye? You're just meticulous. So I'm like, you know what? You need training. And I'm gonna guide you, I'm gonna teach you. His own version, he'll say the story, but at the same time, what known to me was he's always been praying for a big brother. And from then, one of the gifts I carry is the gift of Timothy, as a friend coined it, that I always have someone to pour into. And that was just a God moment right there, how God brings people, and then we just connected from the start. So yeah. And then he started telling people he's my cousin, so he's my cousin too. You know what I mean? When you're that close, he's my cousin. So yeah, he's my cousin. I love him. He's a brother. He's a friend. My best man for my wedding. And yeah, so I even named one of my sons after him. So you already know. So yeah.
Okay, now Mika's version.
My version was through a friend of mine, because I used to get haircuts in the neighborhood. And I went to other barbershops. However, oh my goodness, I remember this haircut. I got this haircut, bro. Tell me how I needed to turn this way to see how straight the line was. That was crazy. So I told one of my boys, I'm like, yo, I'm looking to get a haircut because it's going to be back to school. So he ended up bringing me to Nana's Fashion and Beauty Supplies. I'm like, okay, bet, because that was also within the same building was also a church that I also went to with the same friend I'm talking about. So from there on, I met Eamon through there, wanting to get a haircut. He gave me a haircut, and when he was done, I ended up asking him, "Oh, this is it?" He's like, "Yeah, that's it." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, this is it." And he's like, "Okay." So I ended up telling him what I seen, and he's like, "Oh snap, you have the eye." I'm like, "What do you mean you have the eye?" He's like, "No, you're able to see like fine details." I'm like, "Bet," but mind you, I didn't know, like he said, it was a temporary, barber. So from there on, we ended up cultivating a brotherhood. For my instance, we ended up connecting through the conversations. And I could say for me, what even made it more profound is the fact that it was kind of a disability, you could kind of say, learning disability or delayed, however it may be. So Mans was struggling how to read, write, or whatever it may be. So that day too, he ended up actually pointing that out. He ended up saying, "No, you're able to." So he pointed out, grabbed the book, started kind of learning how to read somewhat. But ever since then, I seen a help that I would say I never quite received that was so genuine and pure. And then from there, here we are.
No, that's that's awesome, bro. I was gonna say, don't get deep on us now. Don't get us choked up now, right?
No. But I have to be real with it. You get what I mean? Many
No.
roads, brother. We have many roads, but we're here.
I hear you, bro. It's exciting because every time I think of your partnership between you and Focus, I I you guys are so different, like very very different, but it works. And I want to kind of go into a little bit of that because somebody's probably listening or watching this, and maybe there's a business that they have or they're planning to start, and they're looking for who to partner with. From your perspectives, like, what are some of the things they should be looking out for? Because you don't know what you don't know at that point. And you don't know to look for the exact opposite of yourself. So, like, how do you go about that? What would you say are some of the things they should keep in mind? Mickey, you could go ahead first.
Certain things that they should keep in mind is understanding the vision and also the people who are involved within the vision and the weight that the vision is going to require of you to even carry at times. So having a great team is truly, truly important because they understand the weight that you carry, and there are times where the person might not even be at 100%. But it's the fact that you also understand each other, that you also understand the vision, that you're able to even go further. But even more important than that, it's also the one who are giving you the vision. For us, Prophetic Cuts was something that we prayed for. And it was not a casual type of prayer. We were like literally praying for, because we were in the state of transition, but we didn't know how to go about it. So having God, Christ at the center of it, it's so important because literally being entrepreneurs, man, it's you're living by faith, not by sight, because you don't know at times. Even like your strategy will not help you at times. And you might find that you have to change certain things because you do not know. So I would say yes, literally having Christ, having a solid team, and also understanding, yes, it's great to have the vision, but putting importance on people also matters.
Yeah, so essentially, if for someone who's listening, watching, and they're thinking, okay, I have this plan, I have this idea, how do I, find people to help? What you're saying is you need to first identify like exactly what you're trying to do, like have that vision for what you're trying to do before you start finding help, before you start looking for help, rather, right? Okay.
Yes, correctly. Because from over there, from your point too, it's what we all have gifts. So, and the gift is to be given to others, to serve others.
That's right.
So the quality in which you serve others, it's so important. But also your heart posture. So it comes down to certain things that are not external, but it's more so internal. And the
Okay.
reason to why I'll say that is because my brother, there's things that till this day I'm still learning from him. That no matter what goes on, this man will come through with joy. He will come through like You switch up the whole atmosphere at the shop. And those are the things that you have to cultivate that within you. It's not something that you can just go and buy. So yeah, for the sake of it, I would say, yeah, having the talent, identify what talent is, have those around you that are able to also bring that out and let you know, like, hey, this is a gift that you have. And having people that will be able to help you along the way of where you're heading, having like mentors, having people that will be able to challenge you in a healthy way. Because at times you can think that your thinking is correct, but there might be an error in it, or how you go about doing what it is that you're planning to do.
Fair enough. Fokhus, what's your take?
So to the person that they don't know what's their next step in terms of who to partner with and all that, I heard it years ago that there are three pivotal things to a business. One, the vision. Second, the people. And three, the resources. Whenever you're partnering with someone, just as Mick said so well, what's the vision? You can know what's the vision and who to collaborate with, but it's what does everyone carry out of those three? Vision is why. Why are we doing this? What problem do we want to solve, or what ease do we want to bring? What comfort do we want to bring? People are bored. People are lazy. If you understand that, you can go far. So the second thing is people. Which of us is more connected to people? Or how can we get people, whatever that looks like, for our barbershop? Who's connected to the community? Who's connected to people, who are influencers, whatever. And then resources. It takes capital, it takes money. Of course, so it's kind of like in this business partner. So in terms of Mika and I was not per se interested in finding someone who's me, because I am me. So who is not me? Mika compliments me in a way that he's an operator. He's an executor. I'm an idea farm. I got ideas upon ideas upon ideas, which upon the name Focus is just, to zoom in. So I'm vision. He's execution. He's people. So find people who are not per se like you, but you can align together. But people who, as Mika said so beautifully, they bring out the best in you. They bring out the execution in you. They complement you. Um, um, yeah, and it really starts with what he said, that it starts with the originator of the vision. It's God who brought us to do this. There's times where, in many ways I've mentored Mika, but he's a brother. I'm not looking down. We're equally brothers. And there's times, Prophetic Cuts is one of them. When we were praying and like, we were literally praying like, God, give us a location, give us a name. He came to me one day. He's like, big bro, God gave me a name. So what's up? Prophetic Cuts. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. And he looked at me like, all right, God spoke to me. I told you, I've done my part. And there's something in there too in terms of his character, where it's not a pushy character where it's like, here, I drop it. It's from a place of pureness. And that's one thing with us. We've been pure, we've been transparent, we've been open, we laid it out. This is what it is, I can go scripture or like, which of you will not count the cost before starting? So we know what it's like. In terms of partnership, back to your question, you don't just share benefits, you share frailties. You share. So if two are walking together, how can you walk together if you don't agree? So we agree in our strength and our weaknesses, but our strengths, each other's strengths, should complement our weaknesses.
I like that. I like that because it's almost like it's a delicate balance. And if you're not careful, if you guys are too similar and too weighted on, like, let's say on one weakness, for instance, let's say punctuality. If both founders of a business, both partners in the business are constantly and consistently late, I don't think that business is gonna do well. You know what I mean?
Not at
But
all.
it always helps if you have somebody who's, like you said, the visionary and then the operator, someone who will keep everyone on time, keep things running, but at the same time, you also have that person who has the ideas. So that's great. I like that. It's a balanced way to look at it. Now, you guys touched on something that I wanna sort of double click on. You guys touched on the fact that to make partnership work, there has to be transparency. Now, transparency is sweet. It's great when things are going well, but it's difficult in like the hard, like when the rubber really hits the road, it becomes a little bit difficult to be transparent. Can you guys? I don't know how open you want to be and in sharing some of the the experiences over the last couple of years, but can you guys talk about how being transparent has helped your partnership? Fokhus, you can go first.
That's one thing I've always enjoyed about Mika. He'll call you out. It's gotten better over the years. Before it's God said, now it's like that's one thing I used to hate about him and love him at the same time. We'd be whatever. I'd rip him apart. One thing about me, I definitely have sweetened my speech in terms of like I used to be a lot more raw, a lot more like I'm like, like take it, like whatever. And I remember one time I was talking to him anyhow, and I think my cousin was around, and my cousin's like, "You gonna let that happen?" Anyway, where we were in the shop, my parents' shop, there was an upstairs. Mika would go upstairs, and I already knew he's going upstairs to hear God. He'd come down, he'd be like, "God said," I'm like, "Bro, how do you hear God when you're mad? Get out of here, bro." But that's one thing we've always had, and I think that the beauty of it is God had brought us together when we're both. I don't know what word to use, but like we both weren't malted. We were sharp, and because of that, it's like we in the roughness, we've learned to speak to each other. So now I don't want to say smooth sailing, but it's like, bro, we've been through the mud. We've been through it. And I think the other thing too is as Mika alluded to, is our heart posture. I'm not doing this to get a one up on you or you one up on me. It's bro, I'm gonna say something that my father said to me years ago. I thought it was my father's, it is my father's, but it's a Shakespeare line where it said, no man or woman but no person can see themselves if not for a mirror or someone else. In the case of a mirror, I'm seeing myself, but I'm seeing how I want to see myself. But in the case of someone else, it's like, bro, there's a flaw here. Fix up. And that's one thing I've always loved about Mika. Is like, yo, there's a flaw here. Fix up. While he's covering me, it's not to expose me, but like, yo, fix this side, and I'll help you here. But fix this side, and I do the same because it's not a brotherhood, it's not a relationship, it's not a partnership if it's just one-sided.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I'll praise you here, but I'll also let you know, hey, fix here. And we're human beings. None of us have arrived. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. So adjust and go, adjust and go. But this is where, and I'll allude to this real briefly. Everybody wants to be responsible, but who's accountable? And that's one thing that Mika has been really great at is being accountable. I don't care how high you climb, fix it.
Now, Mika, I want you to still tackle the same question, but from the mindset of Fokhus is more outgoing. You're much more reserved. Now, for a reserved person to come out and be like, you're messing up, I know it takes a lot of it takes a lot of energy sometimes. Could you talk about having to, still be transparent and honest and open in delivering feedback, even from a standpoint of somebody who's maybe an introvert?
For me, it's always like I always look at how people receive it. And also the way I'll go about saying it. And over the years, I've gotten better at that in terms of the message, making sure that the message is the message, but it's also caring for people's heart in how I deliver it. So the delivery is very important. So with that, as if I'm going to give you feedback, I always have to do it in love.
Okay.
So when it comes to transparency, one thing that I could say, or one of the things that I could say, is the fact that at times, even though age is involved, you can say accolades, all these things are involved. What I say about my brother is humility. No matter what, you already know he's a man of many talents, like many. So his humility to take it in, to reflect, and to come back and you see a change. It might not be immediately, but there is a change that's going to happen. And when it does happen, you alone will be surprised. And also the praise, having to praise for the change that's taking place, because it's not easy. And it's so easy for people to praise you when you are doing well, but who's going to be there to help you when there's areas that need to be worked on, areas that lack development? So for someone to pay attention and to exactly give you that, that's one of the greatest things. Because let's be honest, we're all great at being strong in the area that we're strong in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, having to do the feedback is the same thing, or constructive criticism, same thing. But the transparency, it's something that we have cultivated. We have cultivated that, even openness, because there's a difference between openness and transparency. So we have got to a point where now we're even open to each other, and that's how we're able to grow. Even when it comes to like personal issues, like money wise, all these things, because we're doing life together. And one thing that we do not want is to move in secrecy, because when
Yeah.
secrecy kicks in, that's when trust starts removed. It starts being removed. So we always make sure that we do that, and we do check-ins. Like, hey, how are you doing? Whenever it comes down to it, we check on each other. How's everybody? We're able to say, okay, this is the area that I'm lacking. This is where I'm at. I'm doing well here. So we're there to share in each other's victories. We're there to share in each other's worries. We're there to share in everything that concerns life, in order for us to move in a direction that is necessary.
Hey there, I had to interrupt the podcast episode to tell you about the Clarity 7 Communication Guide. This guide is for you if you've ever struggled with your communication, if you've struggled with passing a message across, being clear and concise in your communication, or if you just struggle with confidence in communicating, this guide is for you. I'm not an expert. I'm not a communication guru. I'm just a guy who's found some steps that work and just wants to share that with his community. So if you need some help with your communication, this guide is for you. It's free. Get it in the description below. It's in the description of the podcast. Wherever you're watching or listening, get it and improve your communication today. I'm rooting for you always. Let's get back to the pod. I like that, bro. I like that. And it kind of leads me to the next question I have for you guys. Of course, if you're running a business, if you're starting a business, any venture that you're deciding to build, to develop, the goal is profit. And with profit comes the issue of money. And you know how everyone is always afraid to talk about money and tiptoeing around issues regarding money. And I mean, even if you're a solo founder, money is an issue. But I can imagine how much more complex it becomes when there's multiple people involved. How have you guys handled the conversations around money? Fokhus, you can go ahead.
Well, transparency is one. We see the accounts. Can't be like the account had 5K or 3K or 1K, and then all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah.
So everyone sees the accounts. We see the accounts. One thing that we've been getting better at it, because we've always been transparent, is systems,
Okay.
right? The other thing I would say with business is, if you're not good with money, get someone who is. But like, just because we are in partnership, it doesn't mean we are the all in all to everything. We can be lacking in, I'm not lacking in marketing, but we can be lacking in marketing is what's coming up right now. So get someone who can do that to help. So what we've done, even we've done as of recently, is like, okay, what targets we want to hit? Okay. If we want to hit these targets, what is that going to look like? So we already look at the incoming flow. You have to look at your flow. What are your positives? What are your negatives? What's drawing out? And then how can we overcome it? What that basically being your overhead. What is the rent? What is the supplies? What is the equipment? What is the marketing budget? And then we have to know how much hours it works. And then does it make sense? Yes, it's money. Again, you want to be very transparent. Like, okay, this is the takeaway I want to do. And then what does it require to have that takeaway? In terms of us being barbers, is how many heads do we have to cut through a week? What happens when we're not cutting those heads? I also do media. So what happens when I'm not, you know? You gotta be transparent.
Yeah. And for you, Mika, I think I would love if you could speak to so yes, there's the money side of things, but then there's also just handling difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And like you guys already talked about feedback, that's great. But now I want to talk about conflict. Like all out, bro, bun you. I said no. Can you talk, because I know, like, I've known you guys for a number of years, over
We don't
10 years.
fight.
Over bro. What do you mean? Bro, can you talk about how you guys handle conflict? Because it will come up in any relationship. Conflicts will come up. And I personally find that the strength of relationships is directly linked to their ability to resolve conflict, and how fast they're able to get out of the pit of conflict. So can you talk about how you guys resolve conflict?
For us, it started on how our friendship brotherhood was formed. Because there'll be at times, even at the shop, it was him and I. We will go at it. Imagine there's clients in the chairs. To the point that clients wants to jump in. We're like, nah, man, you're not in this. Like, Auntie will pull up. She'll be like, yo, what are you guys doing? We keep going at it. We're like, nah, I'm not done speaking. We keep going, keep going. But later on, we discover we're like, yo, we're actually like proper at this. You know what I mean? Even in the car, I'm serious, even in the car, we'll be going at it. But we gotten better because with us, what we needed most was understanding. So once we're able to understand each other, the reason to why he even voiced that, we're able to ask questions to even dig deeper, so we can get to know the heart of the matter.
Okay.
So we have gone better. There'll be certain ones where he'll be like, "Yo, right now I can't deal with this." I'm like, "Yo, don't worry, I got it." Just because I'm in this mind state of actually having to handle it, and vice versa. So when it comes to even having to deal with customers and all that, we always make sure to do it. So if there is a complaint, what happens is that I receive the complaint. Then from there on, I take time to process it, trying to look on all angles and how we can go about it. But even from there too, it's the fact that for you to complain, that means you care.
Facts.
That means that you are, and the best part is they actually come directly to us. Nowadays, we're in the day of social media. People can leave a crazy review. They can go online, do the same thing. But for them to come to address it to us, even personally, we are so grateful for that. We even thank them. I'm like, yo, thank you so much. That means you care. That's giving us data in order for us to make a change that is better, not just for the business, but for the people who are receiving the service. Because we want our service to be of quality, and that is going to involve the conflict having to come to be. So we discuss it with the team. This is what we have received from so and so. We come up with solutions. If it's major, we speak to them, we go about it in a way that is going to resolve the issue, not in a way that we at times think it should be, in a way that they will know that it's resolved and they will feel a sense of like, you know what, I can trust that you guys will handle this. Because at times you may go in rage and you forget the person at times. You may be like, what do you mean this? But no, we go about just resolving in a way that's proper. So conflict, yes, having to resolve it is understanding the matter of that issue, understanding the person, and understanding the fact that they brought up to because they care. And we go about creating the change.
Yeah, I love that, bro. I love that, especially because it's advice that you can kind of apply to, like, the relationship between founders or business partners, as well as the relationship between customers. You know, but I guess another question for you guys in terms of business. The landscape of business is always changing. Competitors enter the market. There's all this disruption with AI. For you guys are never going to be disrupted with AI, which is great. Like, barbers are not, but I don't see barbers being replaced. But I mean, except there's a humanoid robot that starts cutting hair and giving fades. But like, I think we're still far away from that, you know. but in terms of disruptions in the market, how do you guys kind of sit down to kind of agree on strategy? You know, like, okay, so this is a change we're seeing in the market. How do we take advantage of this, or how do we shift our direction and strategy as business partners? What's the best way to go about that? Because you might have a different idea and he has a different idea. Like, you know, so how do you go about that? Fokhus, can you speak to that?
So with disruptions, or even if you want to say the conflict resolution, is one, what you gotta put on the table. Like, what are we talking about? Because I could be talking A, he could be talking B. Like, are we even talking the same thing? So we had to identify whatever we're talking about. That's either a conflict or even a pro. So one disruption that happened was during COVID. During COVID, in terms of our sector, COVID affected everybody on different levels. I'll tell you good and bad, but one thing that COVID affected in terms of barbers is it caused barbers to cut from the house. So barbers don't want to per se cut in barbershops anymore. So that kind of did a thing. It also caused people to want to cut their own hair, different things. Uh, Mind you, we have quality, so that shows. But another thing that COVID did, in terms of a goodness, it brought the need for community. So when you come to a barbershop, there's community. So how do we emphasize more in the community? And like I said, just the fact that there's a problem is not the end all, the be all. It's recognizing, okay, this is here. What can we do with it?
Yeah.
Or what should we do about it? In terms of us, there's one thing I do want to say. In terms of our partnership, it's three. I won't go into say who the third is. If you know, you know. But the reason why we did three is years ago we went to a workshop and they said, when there's only two founders, you can bump heads, just as you're saying. It's, do we go left? Do we go right? But having a third person with equal voting power, we could be like, you know what? It might be 2 out of 3 or whatever it is, and there could be a clearer path. So, but if it's just A, B founders, say two founders, and there's an issue, I want to give you practical answers as we also talk. It's like, do we go left or right? You either choose to go left or right. What I find is if there's ever a disagreement, for me, I take it that I'm not communicating well enough.
Okay.
How can I advance my communication? What do they need to better see my point of view? And it could be just asking that question. Okay, you're not seeing my point of view right now. What do you need to better see my point of view?
Yeah.
Right. So, or it could be that, okay, you know what? Last time we did your choice, so this time we do my choice. But again, everything is for the greater of the vision. It's not what Fokhus wants, it's not what Mika wants, but what is the vision that we're going forward. Back to your question about disruptions and moving forward. Again, lay it out on the table. What is the disruptor and what are possible solutions? Right now, I won't release it out publicly, but there's some AI integration that we're like, hey, if we can integrate this into what we're doing, what would be the outcome? And one way I'd say that is by listening to your clients. They more or less know what they want already. How can we solve it? So
To add on to that too, in terms of the pandemic, what ended up doing as well, it's when we were transitioning to even, let's say, opening up Prophetic Cuts, we wanted to go more so into system building structure. So one of the great things that helped us with was a booking system. When we started this way back, which was not kind of the norm in our industry, because people wanted to go through phone calls, they wanted to go through walk-ins, but we wanted to make it such a way that we have also a flow of how things we want it to be, one of more so structured, systematic function.
Yeah.
So that helped us as well because we're able to keep tracks of things. We're able to scale. We're able to do a lot more to make sure that people receive the services that they need. So that was a great addition for the pandemic of everything that happened in terms of your answer as well.
Yeah. Honestly, phenomenal. And I guess something that I'm noticing, I guess a common theme I would say that I'm sort of noticing as you guys talk and you guys kind of give me your feedback and your thoughts and opinions is that when it comes to partnership, like any other partnership, when it comes to partnership in business, there's a significant amount of compromise involved. Like there's just times you're going to have to say, you know what, this time I'm not going to get my way on this one, and another time I'll get my way on this one. But it's also kind of understanding that it's not you versus your partner. It's kind of you guys versus outside and whatever the external, issues are. But I also understand that there's times when like I want you guys to talk about you briefly also talked on strengths versus weaknesses, and I want you guys to practically talk about how sometimes like let's say for example Fokhus, you're not 100% that day, you know and Mika has to like almost step it up to kind of cover that, you know like can you walk us through that scenario, because there's a lot of when it comes to partnerships there's a lot of things that can't be necessarily like spelt out, but like in stories and scenarios people can kind of see like, okay, this makes sense. So can you guys walk us through any period of time, I don't know if it was a situation, whatever it was, where either of you kind of had to step in for the other person? And I know you guys have a bunch of stories, so whoever wants to go first can go first. Okay, I'll pick Mika,
please.
you go first.
There's certain situations where Eman might not be too serious about it. Where I'm like, yo, Brethren, like you can't be like you have to, like, this is the point where you have to be a bit more serious. But that's who he is. And on the other hand, I'm more the person where at time people pull up, they're like, yo, my brother's like, yo, Mix, man, you need to learn how to smile more, man. Like, cheer up, bro. I'm like, I thought I was. So we compliment each other in that way too, where it's reminders and such. You get what I mean? And from there, it's so great knowing that your brother got you. So that's one of the things that just came to mind in terms of the question that you just asked. Even when it comes down to, say, conflicts, I can be like, no, I'm going to go ahead and deal with that. Reason why is because automatically for me, it's something that I'm like, you know what? I'm able to do it this time because I'm here where I'm at. I can go ahead and get that done, and vice versa. And the beautiful thing about it is not that they cannot do it. It's the fact that I am in a position currently to do it. And they are also somewhat learning because we're always teaching each other to make sure that we're better. Just because he's great at doing what he does, it does not mean that someone else cannot do it.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So, okay, now perfect. I know Fokhus well, and I know that he's a perfectionist in the sense that whatever he wants to do because he's good at doing it. It doesn't mean he has the time to do it though. Now, how do you communicate that to your business partner where it's like, I know, or perfect scenario, I know you've been doing this ever since we started our business, but I think it's time to outsource. And this is something that like that business partner really enjoys doing.
Yeah.
How do you communicate that to your business partner?
How do I communicate that? It's to just bring evidence, because evidence is always going to be there. And it's going to be truthful. We're going about identifying, and we'll be like, hey, we have planned to move ahead. This is when we started planning this. And this is where we're supposed to be. And this is where we currently are. And this is what you have agreed upon. And what's so great is when you assign people things, you can also hold them accountable to it.
Exactly.
Because there's expectation, but there's also responsibility to that, which is so great. So we're able to be truthful about it. Be just like, hey, I understand you are able to do it. However, life does happen. You're also a husband. You're also a father. You're also a leader. There's so many pockets that you have to fill. But it's just like, as for now, although you can do it, it will be great to consider us having to get someone who will be able to do it at the level that is necessary or at the level that is needed for us to elevate.
Yeah. And now for you, Fokhus, Mika, thanks for that, because I like the fact that you're also alluding to the fact that the person has to hands off. Now, for you, Fokhus, the question to you is this. It can be difficult sometimes to take your hands off certain parts of the business that you are well versed at, but you don't have time or the capacity to kind of do. So can you talk about how you've handled that sort of thing? And because I know you, there's a lot of things you can do by yourself, but it doesn't mean you should do all of them by yourself, right? So how have you had to kind of, okay, you know what, I gotta take my hands off this, we have to delegate that. Can you talk about that?
I think in answering that is you have to have, I want to use the word realistic, but you have to have an image of yourself and what is God telling you in this season. And you'll hear it. The word that comes is almost, it's in the whispers. You will hear it. You will hear it. Am I to be doing this? Am I not to be doing this? I think the start of last year, I told Mika, the shop is yours. The shop is yours. Why? Because to your question, it goes in two ways. And holding on to a thing so much, you could be the very reason that it's delaying.
Wow.
And I felt I was delaying the shop because it's not that I can't do other things and all that beautiful stuff, but I knew for the capacity that I had and the strength that I had, it was on me to bring it to this level. So I was like, Mika, it's your time to shift it. And that's what we've done. I've not deserted the shop. I've I took off my hands one time. I'm like, yeah, now you're driving, bro. You're driving. Hurry up. Let's go. You know what I mean? But
the way this man
I
talked
think
about it too, no. That day when he released it, you can see a sense of sadness. But now this man is so happy. I'm like, yeah, yo, bro, man, I need you, bro. I'm like, yo.
so.
I didn't know it was like this, bro. It's easy being a passenger, but now you're the driver. Oh, no, God. Listen, these are the
No,
things
because
that they don't tell you, man. These are the things they don't tell you.
it causes growth on both sides. You know, it causes growth on both sides, and there's been a joy in me, it's not just even the barbershop, but some other things that we do, but you want to say to the barbershop, there's a joy in seeing, oh, wow, okay, Mika does it this way. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, it's better. You know, I love what he says. The evidence proves it, right? Like, because if the thing doesn't operate without you, is it really a thing? So that is our aim. Like, Prophetic Cuts is its own entity. Yes, when you think Prophetic Cuts, you think Fokhus, you think Jude, you think Mika, but like it's its own entity. Does it represent us, right? So, um, yeah, like if you hold on to a thing with two hands, you can't receive the next thing.
Facts. That's a good
So,
word.
am I best position for what I'm doing now this season? We have to call in. I do marketing. I do these things. We have to call in someone to help us with the social media and the content creation. She flows in ideation. She flows in that vein. Like, and every time you do that, you'll find that you're breathing life back into what you're trying to do. Right. So,
Nah, that's bro. That's good because I'm kind of in the same boat where it's a season where, like, of course, I kicked off the podcast and I actually wrote a newsletter about this last week in terms of having to, like, not letting who you've been stop you from who you're becoming, right? And because as human beings, we kind of tie who we are, what we do into kind of who we are. And, like, so Fokhus has always been the guy running the barbershop. And it's like, but your other businesses, which we'll bring up shortly, need your attention now. And if you try to hold on to the barbershop, it won't do as well. And the new thing that God has for you at the same time, you're also going to be blocking. So it's like, but I also understand how it can be difficult because it does take a lot of change and a lot of self-awareness to be like, you know what, that season is done. I have to start this new thing, you know. But anyways, let's switch gears here. Apart from the barbershop,
I just want to say one
yeah,
thing
go ahead.
about that, just to anyone even listening. Just because God has called you to transition, how you transition also matters. Me putting weight on Mika, if I can use that term, it was not meant to crush him, but to build his muscle.
Yeah, I like that. Also, it's funny because people, there's that scripture that says iron sharpened iron, right? And people are very quick to use it, but if you actually picture what you're saying, it's not a pretty image.
No.
If you actually see two pieces of iron like rubbing against each other, there's friction, there's likely sparks. It's not a pretty image. So out of the crushing, out of the pressing, out of the sharpening comes growth. But the process is not easy. So like Mika was saying, it's like, bro, I went from being in the passenger seat to being in the driver's seat and like wondering, yo, what the heck? Like this is what this guy's been putting up with this entire time.
Yeah.
But then it also gives, I guess, a fresh perspective to Mika about you and what you're capable of. You know. So, but anyways, let's leave that part of the conversation now. I want to talk about the media brand in Fokhus. For anyone who's listening, watching this, Fokhus and Mika as well. I guess this one is owned majorly by Fokhus, but Mika has been a part of this also since inception, as I would say. You guys also have this media brand and there's photography, there's videography, there's brand marketing, there's branding, there's all these parts of it. You know, one thing that I believe you guys have done so well is kind of used both businesses to help each other. You know what I mean? In the sense that, like, if you go on the Prophetic Cuts Instagram page, you're gonna see a bunch of crazy content that they started putting out, and it's well done because you guys have the expertise in media and all that aspect of things. But the question is this: how do you make sure that one doesn't suffer for the other? Because they are both like they are both demanding businesses. They are both time consuming. So how do you prioritize and make sure that okay, the media brand in Fokhus is not suffering for Prophetic Cuts? Like how do you guys do that?
One thing that Mika had brought up to me, I think he said it last year, but he says it's the season. And I'll say a bit of how that mindset started. My mindset prior was anyone around me, I have to replicate you as a version of me. Not so much fully me, but a version of you that can carry these gifts. And as time progressed, God showed me it's not that I have to replicate all my gifts in those people, but we can give them certain traits or characteristics, whatever it is, like they can have that skill set. Not so much all of them, but let them perfect themselves in the skill set that they like in you or whatnot. So back to what Mika said. Mika said, "Eman, I think it's time to put your best foot forward in terms that if this person is better at photography, let them run the lane of photography. Yes, they can touch this lane a bit, but let them be more in the lane of skill set. One, they have to have a skill set, and then the passion. So there's no point being barber, media, all these other things, right? Because if you're not careful, it's like everyone's dividing, you just spread yourself thin. So that's a model we started really pushing like 2 years ago. Like, all right, you're the best at this, we'll push you more on those levels. The way you do it is systems. The beautiful thing about it, and I know however you want to put it, as your thing grows, as your demand grows, it will determine how well your system is. If there's hold in your system or whatnot. So as elevation occurred, right now with the media in focus, we can shoot 2 events a weekend, but it's cumbersome. So something's got to give. One way I can answer your question is what I find with me in this season is I build brands by building people. It's the people that help the system. It's the people that help these things. So how is it possible? It's not just Mika and I. You have other people like Quest. You have other people like Hans, other people like Cam, other people that we can rely on that do the excellence is there. So I even say it in the shop. There's no difference of who cuts you in the shop. I just talk the most, and I you know. So like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's same outcomes, just different personalities, right? So
Yeah. Now I know Mika's also involved in Focus as well, but I want to ask a question that sort of affects, or I would say is a situation that I might see has maybe happened in both businesses. Have you guys ever hired somebody on the team that one person was like, we shouldn't hire this person, and the other person said no, we should. You guys went ahead with it, and then it didn't work out.
all the time. And this is why we have systems. Um, so to answer that, like I said, there's more elements than just Mika and I. I have my wife Mariella. I love her. God bless her. She's so amazing.
Shout
And
out Purple.
yeah, shout out to her. She has incredible intuition. Like incredible intuition. Um, Person will come, Meeks and I, or what, we're like, yeah, yeah. And she's like, like, we'll be like, why'd you say that? She goes, do you want to hear it? I think 90% of the time now, she's been right. And it's not that we don't see what she's seeing. I think, especially more from my level, I just have a true hope in people. Because do you call people on from where they are? Do you call people on for who they are? Do you bring people on for the skills that they have? And that's why I said the systems. Whereas like you can work with us, but this is our expectations. Like even us for the shop, we have a thing. It's called Delta. I won't go too much into right now, but Delta is that you're driven. You are self-driven. I don't need to push you. You are self-driven. E is for excellence. Like you have a hunger for excellence. And what's excellence? Excellence is not perfection. And that's one thing we have to turn away from. We're not seeking perfection. We're seeking the best outcome with the resources, knowledge, and whatever we have in this moment. Yeah. So yeah, I'll let Mika take over.
Yeah, I want your take on this.
With that, it's just because you see us, it's also understanding that we are also under submission. Like he said, my sister Mariella, she's incredible, amazing. Like there are certain levels where we have to go to, and she's like, okay, she's like, for us, she's like the last. We're like, sis, here we go. This decision cannot be made without you. Reason why is because you need those eyes to see what you don't see.
That's right. Yeah.
And they will always come because they like trust. When it comes to the people that we have in our corners, their brothers, their sisters, they will tell us, even leaders, mentors, all of, they will tell us. They'll be like, okay, have you considered this? Okay, have you looked at that? Okay, you guys have been here for too long. What's going on? Oh, you guys have been talking about that. Okay, what's going on? So it's so great to have that. Why? Because when you're so close to a thing, sometimes you even lose sight of sometimes where you're heading.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
having people that go about giving you the wisdom, that go about encouraging you, that go about challenging you, it's so important to have. So we are people who are also under submission, and it's a must to do that. So that's how, we're able to be where we're at.
Yeah. See,
I
there is.
I want to say this too. And sorry, but I just want to say this too. At this point where we are is, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have skill set, but skill can always be acquired. It's now personality. Do we gel? Is our vision the same? Are we pushing excellence? Because like, yes, you can cut hair. And like I said in the shop, you can go to any one of our chairs. The outcome will be the great. Like people like cutting with Jude. People like cutting with Meeks. People like cutting
Yeah.
me because there's something to be given. There's something to be added. And it's more than a haircut. Same thing
Mhm.
with media. Like there are really great photographers out there. There's really great videographers out there. But like, can we vibe? Can I get your vision? Do you have to say too much? Or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are we listening? And I find that those go much further.
Yeah. See, the reason why I asked you guys this question is because last week I was listening to a podcast between two founders, and they were talking about how this man in particular was talking about how a lot of the people he has had to fire later on, his wife told him not to hire.
Mm.
So it's funny because I didn't even know where you guys were gonna take this, but it's crazy that the answers are the same. Because as human beings, we have these blind spots, and only the people closest to us can really see them.
Yeah.
And you know, in bringing somebody else into the picture who's not necessarily in the day to day, they can because as a founder, you guys are business owners. You're just trying to get the position filled quickly. Like we need help. I have a chair open. Come get in. Let's go. Let's start making this money. But when you allow somebody else to come in, it's kind of, oh wow, from a different perspective. Yeah, that's not gonna work. But it also takes, and this is what I love about both of you, is that it takes a level of humility to also be like, yeah, we got this one wrong. Hopefully
Oh
we get
yeah.
hopefully we get the
Oh
next
yeah.
one
Yeah, yeah.
right.
But see, we've learned that a wrong hire can do a lot of damage. Having the wrong synergy around you can do a lot of damage.
Let's
And
get
it's
into
not that
that focus.
it's not that we have the mindset that we're good, but we're good, bro.
Mm.
Like there's a thing called dependence and then independent, but you have to be interdependent. Where it's like, listen, I already operate at a level 10. Mika operates at a level 10. So if you come around this, you got to be operating high level to push us further. We don't want you joining us to do outcomes that we can do on our own. What's the point? Years ago, I was on a set, and we had a guy around us, a bunch of, we always have people on a set. And I had given him, there's an outlet, an outlet on the wall has
Yeah.
two prongs. So there was already a light connected, and then there was something connected, and I needed something else connected. So I was like, yo, and it had to be that area because of safety and everything. So I was like, can you plug this here? And then I gave him an extension cord. And he was like, well, the two are already used up. What do you want me to do?
Red flag.
I remember, I literally stopped everyone. And I'm like, everyone, stop. There was probably about 8 people on set. Everyone's like, what? And I'm like, respectfully, if I have to tell you how to think and how to do a thing, then what is your purpose here? Because you are taking away my energy. Not to say there's not a time to train, not a time, but if we are executing at high levels, if we're doing what people are asking of us, we can't do things anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one, I think there's a question to even ask. Why do you want to join that team that you want to join? And how can you level them up? How can you add to something that they can't see?
I think
Do
that's
things
good.
well,
Focus.
do things with integrity, and do things consistently. Money will come.
Yeah. Focus. I think this is good, especially for someone who is looking to pitch themselves to become a part of a business. It's like, are you just trying to join that business because they're gonna pay you, or do you actually see yourself providing value to that business and to that person? But Mika, I want you to talk about the fact that, like, in those moments where you have to sort of take a step back from like I want you to talk about the moments where you've had to take a step back and look at the bigger picture in terms of all that it is that you guys are involved in, and then make a difficult decision, but it's a personal decision. How do you go about communicating that to Focus? Because if it's communicated the wrong way, it can be looked at as like selfish. Now I don't know if this is a scenario that has happened, but like if there's ever a time where you had to make a decision and it was a personal decision, but you still had to let him know, hey, I have to make this personal decision and it's going to affect the business. How do you go about that?
That's a fantastic question. However, it's that we are so transparent, so open that even when the decision is made in such a way that there's no fuss about it. So, for
Okay.
instance, as I said, he is a father. He's also a husband. There are times where he has to step away. So the understanding comes to be like, yo, bro, your first ministry is your household. No matter what. Because a business can always be made by a family. That's why even our business is like, or you can say the spirit of our business is family. So when he goes about letting me know that, it's with no doubt I'll be like, thank you for letting us know. And from there, he puts things in place in such a way that even if he's absent, it's as if he's not absent because of how things were handled. Because I had to also step away for certain part, even if it comes to like education.
Exactly.
It comes down to this: when a leader gets better, the organization gets better. So with that, we always make sure that we always elevate each other, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Now
even
the reason why I asked, so go ahead. Go ahead.
No. So even a lot of the decision that we make, we're always considering each other, because once we consider each other, the business is gonna do well.
That's right. The reason why I asked that is because there's a tendency for people to want to separate personal life from business life. But I find it a little bit challenging when you have a co-founder, when you have a business partner, because it's in there, like they're all tangled together.
Yeah.
So like I just wanted you guys to kind of talk on that. And Mika, I've gotten your take. Focus. How do you kind of bridge in that personal life? And I know Mika's answered it, but I just want to hear your perspective on it as well.
I was asked a question years ago. This is concerning marriage, and I'm bringing this up because it's partnership. Whereas, am I willing to lose everything for my wife? I used to think the most important thing to me back then was the barbershop. Now, what I realize the most important thing to me is my name, the brand, right? Focus. I would lose it in a heartbeat for my wife. Why? Because we can rebuild it better.
Facts.
In terms of the shop, in terms of whatever, for the sake of the brotherhood of Mika and Jude, I would drop it in a heartbreak, in a heartbeat. Why? Because we can always rebuild. So Mika alluded to businesses they rebuild any day. Brotherhood, like in these times, like the depths of Mika and our relationships. There are people who used to mentor us. One time they're like, "Can you trust Mika with my life? I can leave my children with him. I can leave money by him." This is who we are with each other. So the business you see is more or less an extension of us, but it's not us.
Yeah.
You know me to have waves. I don't know if my waves are showing right now. Let me see the angle. You know what I mean? But if I have to get locks, I'm still focused. I'm still fine. So we get the joy of doing, and Mika said this in the start, we get the joy of doing life together. And that's what it is. It's a privilege to do life together. But we're not stuck on the medium. If it has to take a different medium, it takes a different medium. We learn the lessons, we move on. Simple. So we highly encourage our own personal growth. We are the first to critique ourselves. I don't want to use the word critique for the sake of beating ourselves down, but we're like, no, you should have a higher outcome. You know what I mean? So that's who we are to each other. And that's just who we are in general to people around us. It's one of the gifts. You come around me, oh yeah, I like that you're doing this, but have you considered?
Nah, bro, that's great, man. And I like the balanced perspectives that you guys both provide. But I guess the pushback is this: Fokhus and Mika. For somebody who's just starting in business, let's say they're launching a business today, they just met their co-founder, their business partner, maybe a year ago. And they're like, we don't have this trust that you guys are talking about. You guys are 20 plus years deep into this. Like this trust and this being able to do life together, we haven't had that opportunity yet. But we still have a business to run today. How would you tell them how would you tell them to build that trust today? To start and get started on building that trust.
So I don't know the technical terms so much right now, but definitely you want to write everything out. What do we stand to gain? What do we stand to lose? If it crosses to this point, I'm out. You know what I mean? Write these things out. That's why you have these agreements. Mika and I, yes, we have the relationship, but there's agreements there. There's things written on paper. Because what we find is when the danger comes in, it's when it's surprises. That's when it's like, oh, but I was expecting this. Yeah. But was it said? Was it spoken? Was it written? So write those things out. Again, like I don't need to know you 20 years deep to have a relationship, but this is where you ask questions. Okay, if right now, if the account needs $3,000 by tomorrow, who's giving the money? Are you okay with putting $3,000 and not receiving that money for 6 months? No, I'm not okay. Okay, then we know what to do. Yes, I'm okay. Okay, then we know what to do. If it doesn't pay back, then say, okay, I want to be paid with interest. These days we didn't eat.
No, it wasn't days, bro. Don't say days, bro. That's too small, bro. It was no, we ain't doing that, bro. We ain't doing that. We have many roles, bro. We gotta be real out here. No.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. This is within Focus, the media company, and us doing weddings. There was seasons where people, there was a lot of talk. Our communities, people didn't pay me. People did not pay me. Mika still showed up. What he's saying is true. I think it took me 2, if not 3 years to pay him back, but I paid him back. We know what we're doing in terms of we're building something. He took it that, you know what, if they burned you, they burned me, let it go. And I said, I get that. But still, as a business person, if I'm burned, it's because something about me allowed an opening. So I should feel that, but you should still be compensated. So, we like to think of just the rosy side, but what about the other outcome?
Yeah. No, I hear you, bro.
And you got to know your costs. How far is too far? If you've been walking down a path 5 years and, hey, you can still be friends and go to different directions. So
Facts. Mika, I want to hear your take. What do you think?
And as well, trust is tested. So just like faith, it's something that you have to exercise. It's not something that you just gain like that. And there has to be such a way that people will have to hurt you to let you know the level in which you're able to trust again. It can be all just smooth. No, that's not the way it is. Like at times that has to happen. And it's so great that it happens because you're able to truly see who's there for you. People are there when it's celebration because it's celebration. But people have to be in the gutter. You have to be people putting in the work and such like that. And that's when you truly know. Like even in the Bible, you get to see Joseph before he was elevated. Man was through a lot. Man went in prison, did all the stuff, helped people out. But no matter what, he was just also strengthening his heart, strengthening his faith. It was molding him to positions that he will be in. But he also helped him to relate to people. So even with us, when it comes to those type of things, is where we're able to relate with so many people and we're also able to build people because of what we have been through. It was not for wasted. So when it comes to trust, it truly has to be there. And one of the greatest things is the fact with us, I'll say it's money. Money is able to let you know a degree in which you can trust somebody or how much you can trust them. The reason to why I'm saying this, there's someone that wanted to learn how to cut hair. I'll say particularly me, I'm not one who trains people just like that. If you have been put on my heart to train, then I will. Reason why, because I know how much it takes and he knows how much I have to give myself away. So I ended up asking this person this question. What's the reason to why you want to learn how to cut hair? Because when you give the answer, it's going to indicate how, to me, it's going to indicate how far you're going to, or if before you even start, it's already done. So the person ended up saying, I want to make money. So automatically I was like, well, before we begin, it's already done. You're not going to go too far. Because if you're going after money, that already lets me know where you stand. But just keep in mind, when I'm training you, if I'm training you, there will be years that money might not come. But it's years of refining, years that character is being built, years that you're building relationships, years that you're being tested to see if you actually want what you say you want. So yeah, trust will have to be tested.
I like that. So test the trust. What are, I guess, in 1 minute each, what are practical ways that, this person could, try to test this trust? Because this is somebody that, let's say, you've just known for a year. I mean, I'm not saying go and open your bank account and, give the person your passwords, but what are some of the practical ways that, because I want to make this as practical as possible,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like to test character. So I don't know if you've seen those videos where like someone's going for an interview, but how they treat the janitor or how they treat the homeless man outside or how they treat the secretary determines their value in the shop. I've done this even once in a while where it's like, hey, I need you to go to Dollarama. I know it's now sometimes $5, but I need you to Dollarama and just get me a broom. I give you $50. And then I pretend like I forgot the money. Are you keeping it or are you bringing it back? How's your relationship with money? Do you love it? I literally just yesterday, I was telling my son, I said, money is a servant, but some people have made money master. So what's your relationship with money? Is it a master or is it a servant? That's what, because there's going to come a day where I have to trust you. People take money to be, oh no, but I have to trust you for a relationship that I have built 20 years. And you can break that in less than 2 minutes.
That's right.
So can I trust you with people? Can I trust you around my children? Can I trust you with those are things. So, and again, your money relationship, can you take correction?
Yeah. Mika, quickly from you.
The other one, emotional intelligence.
Wow. Okay. That's big.
It's important because you're dealing with people with emotions. Till this day, I'm still learning. Because the weight of words, you have to learn how to value words. Because you build and you destroy with words. The other part too, I'll see at the shop, it's where do the towels. You want to learn how to cut hair, go ahead and do the towels. You might do that for like 2 months. Go ahead and do that. Cool, not a problem. Broom the floor because it's important. This is our environment. We have to cultivate it, and that's part of it. You're not just going to come and straight be in the passenger seat. It's not that way. There's levels into it. And even as you get there, how you get there matters, and the people that you go about treating when you get there also matters. There are certain things, even greeting people. It's where you are literally being built. Why you're being built to last, not just anyhow. So we're intentional in every single thing, in every detail. And the other part too, it's, we would say, your relationship with yourself, another practical way. Because there's certain things that you have received along the way, either good or bad. How is that like? Because the relationship you have with yourself is what you're going to give life to others.
Fair enough. I love it, bro. I love it. Before I let you guys go, I had 5 questions, but we're gonna do 3 because of time. Rapid fire questions. These are designed to kind of be fun and engaging. So just one word answers, one sentence answers, keep it moving, keep it quick. Fokhus, you go first, Mika, you go second. That's how we're gonna do it. So the first question is, who's the better barber? Fokhus, you go first.
It just me and Mika or
Yes,
in
between you and
Prophetic
Mika.
Cuts?
You and Mika.
Mika's the better hair cutter.
Bruh, no. Give us the straight answer.
I did. In terms of experience, me, hands down. I always say in the shop, if your client comes in my chair, they're not coming back. Unless I'm busy. Unless I'm busy.
Mika, what's your answer?
The answer, it's between the two of us?
Yeah, you guys, you both get your opinions.
Oh,
What's your answer?
Because I was about to say Jude.
Hey, we can put Jude in there too.
Jude got every gadget, bro.
I was about to say Jude, man. Yo, Jude is holding it down.
Shout out to Jude, man.
History
Jude is our barber. Jude is our barber, so that tells you something too. So
History
okay,
maker,
okay.
you know.
Okay. Next question. So Fokhus, you're gonna answer one, and Fokhus, you're gonna answer, and then Mika's gonna answer. Who's always late to meetings?
it depends which type of meeting.
Focus.
Give us a straight answer, bro.
Focus. Focus. That name says it all, man. That name says it all.
If I'm late, it's because God didn't want me to start on time, so we can.
He said if.
We can test the character. So we can.
Focus.
How are you in the waiting? How are you in the waiting?
No. In the waiting, no.
I'm usually late, but in our meeting, I was not. I just want to put that out.
You want to talk about it? That same
I
person
just want to put it out.
Move out of here. No.
Okay.
I asked for the link. 30 minutes in advance.
No.
So we're good.
Oh my god. Okay, man. Let's do. You know what? Let's do two more. Who handles angry customers better? Who handles angry customers better?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think we both have our way of handling angry customers. I don't think I get angry customers. Because there's different sides of me. People, you know what I mean? You gotta be careful of nice people. I'm a nice person, and God is behind me. So I have learned to manage my anger, but like I will still rip you if I need to. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, is it? Do I want to rip you for the sake of ripping you? No. So, Mika's much better at like keys and stuff like that. He's good at that. I make people feel good. Like, you know, I want to make you feel valued and seen. I think Mika's better at it.
Answer the question, brother. Answer the question.
Consistently.
No, answer the question, man.
Thoroughly, Mika.
Okay.
I think he interacts with them more. I don't have angry clients because I satisfy my clients so well. So I don't know. I don't know.
No, you hear that? You hear this guy? That man said you're giving the man an essay. He just said answer the question, brother. That's all. That's all, brother. That's all.
Mika, do you believe you handle angry customers better?
I would say yes for the most part, yeah, because
operation. There we have it. Last question now. Actually, no, we'll do a couple more. So let's do the final two. If the barbershop had a theme song, what would it be? Fokhus. If the barbershop had a theme song, what would it be?
Let Mika go first because Mika's music. Go ahead.
Yo, that's a good one. You know what? The only song that's coming on, bro, it's Mick Mill. Hold up, wait a minute. Your thought that we'll finish that one. Oh, no. Yeah, for what I've been through. No, wait a minute.
That's a song of restoration, bro.
I don't know what song I would use. That's so crazy. There's a song that comes to mind, but man, how we got the shop was just God, bro. Yeah, like when we think about how we got the shop, the way we had to pray for the shop, the timing of the shop, just the circumstance where we were in life, the way God helped us, we got the keys to the shop before we even put the down payment. The systems in the city where they promised us money, so we are running with that, they never gave us money. We had to cancel meetings. God put it on the heart of someone close to us. He knows who he is. I don't want to say his name because I don't want people running at him like that. But he gave us a loan. I think this theme song, I know there's a song, I have a very big God. A very big God. Oh. I think that would be the song.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I don't even need to. I was gonna ask this, but I even know the answer to this. I was gonna ask music or silence in the shop. It's music. I don't even need to ask this one.
I have the music. We can go silence. I have the music.
But let's do this. If there was a dream celebrity you could cut, who would it be?
A
Dream
dream
celebrity.
celebrity?
Yeah, like somebody that you really look up to, that you find inspiring, that you could cut. Who would it be?
Oh, I got one.
Go for it, bro.
Miles Monroe.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Focus. Who for you? Just say the name.
Dead or alive? Chadwick Boseman.
Ooh, Black Panther. Let's go. Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
We're wrapping this up. What's one thing your business partner does that drives you crazy, but you secretly respect? So this one thing is probably something you've told them to their face, like, you do this, it drives me crazy, but look in your heart, you're like, I'm glad they do this.
I'm like,
Makes go.
bro, I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking.
So Meeks has a thing where he'll hear you, he'll receive you, all that. Especially when we're doing something, he's like, "Okay, thank you, but write it down or email me." I'm like, "Yo, my G, you just heard what I said." But it's amazing because it holds us accountable.
Exactly.
I will say another funny thing that he does, and I get why he does it because he's thinking. It may even come up anytime soon, but he'll go and he clears his voice before speaking.
Yo. Yo, why you?
Yo, we can tell you guys have known each other for years.
Yo, you know when that was? That was like years ago, bro. Come on, man. What 2025?
You did it 3 times. You did it 3 times in this interview, man. I listened.
It wasn't
Okay,
once though.
Mika.
You said I do it once. It was 3 times though, right? Huh?
Okay, Mika, for Focus, what's one thing that drives you crazy that he does, but like Loki, you secretly like I'm glad he does this.
That's jeez.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say something about like Focus's energy, because like in the mornings, like when people are just waking up, Focus is like up.
No. That's facts too. But I've seen times. Okay, we speak on that. I've seen times when he was low and something was up. I'm like, yo, brother, what's going on? And it's not just him, bro. I have nephews, man. They also have energy like that too. So I'm like, wow, must be nice.
So do you have something that he does that pisses you off, but like you're secretly like, I'm glad he does that. I mean, if you don't have one, it's okay too.
No, it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, if you know what, if it gets you thinking, share with him later on. I guess.
What I'll say is this: his ability to capture masses when he speaks. Because no matter where this man is at, no matter what, this man can be in Australia, no matter where he's at, he's able to capture like people's attention and literally like speak to them. So I would say that part. Yeah.
So I guess it pisses you off because sometimes you don't want the attention.
No, it pisses me off because at times this man will just come and do that. I'm like, Bridget, it's not the time. It pisses me off, but I love it though at times. The reason to why I love it, because I'm just like, you know what? If human is here, I ain't gotta do it. So no. Because there's many things that we organize. If human is here, I'm like, oh, thank you, brother. So sometimes it's like, yo, you're handling this. I'm like, huh? I'm like, no. Don't worry, you're good, bro. You can handle this. So that's the part that I say it pisses me off, but I love the fact that he's able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Mika, Fokhus, thank you so much for coming on the Minerals podcast. It's been my joy having you on. I had so much fun, so much laughs. We had, I guess a balanced conversation, deep conversation, jokes and stuff. But I think this is a well-rounded conversation for anyone who's looking to start a business and looking to get a partner, or who's looking to enter into some sort of partnership with anyone. So this is a really good podcast episode for that. I just want to say thank you again. Thanks for coming on, guys. This was great. And I'm gonna put all your links in the description because like there's so many links for all that you guys do and all that you guys are. So I'll put those in the description. People can connect with you. They can find that in the description. Yeah.
I want to say very big thank you for having us on the platform. As deep as I've known Mika, Oba, I've known you, and one thing about you is you're a catalyst. You've always desired to see people grow and see the best of them, and systematically doing it too, right? You're one of those people who call me like, "Folk, consider this, consider that." So Thank you for considering us. Thank you for being a pillar. Thank you for this podcast and showing people there's many roads to attain what they want to do. I want to give you your flowers.
Hey,
Because
thank you,
one thing
brother.
about you, you're incredible about giving people their flowers. And this is not one of those moments Mika's talking about, but I just want you to know that I love you so much.
Love you too, bro. Thank you so much, bro. It's crazy how it played out in real life.
Hey. No, but real talk though, real talk too. It's beautiful seeing your journey to embark on this. I'm more than sure there are a few that know, but definitely many will know. For you to even be embarking on the podcast, like, bro, it's not like there is a lot that you'll be able to share.
Thank you so much. This was fun. For those who watched, listen to the end, thank you so much for sticking with us, hanging with us. This was a crazy episode. It was all sorts of fun, and I hope to see you on the next one. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We need that input from you. We need that support from you. And see you on the next one, and God bless.